Hi everybody, it's Alex Newton from K-lytics, today with our Kindle market trends for October 2023. So let's have a look. As always, let's examine the major trends and developments along the category bestseller list on the Kindle platform. As it stands right now, romance is continuing to lead the pack, before mystery, thriller, suspense, then sci-fi and fantasy. And of the two big umbrella categories, literature and fiction, clearly outselling non-fiction on the Kindle platform. The relative position of these categories has not changed versus the prior month, but as we all know, there have been a lot of Amazon changes over the last 12 months, amongst which the category upload changes, which we covered in other presentations already, so I'm not going to cover them here, but you can still watch them on the right-hand sidebar of the members area in the K-lytics account. Or alternatively, you can visit klytics.com/AMZC23, Amazon changes 23, AMZC23. Now, in fiction, and starting with romance, we've even seen a further strengthening of the romance categories, with average sales rank across the top 100 titles and measured over time, reaching an all-time high this October with an average sales rank of 80 right here on the right-hand side of the graph. To give you a better view, and since I haven't provided you with an update for quite a while, let's look at the main category sales over a longer period of time to fully grasp what's been happening over a longer period of time. The yellow triangle marks the start of the pandemic 3.5 years ago, and ever since then, romance has further improved its position with this just mentioned all-time high. And to plot the next genre, we even have to squash the axis here a little bit to put the mystery, thriller, suspense bestseller list on the graph. You see further to the left, MTS had been lagging romance during the pandemic. Then after the pandemic, there was a clear decline in sales, and it's only been over the last year that we've seen a recovery in mystery, thriller, suspense, with sales now finally pointing up again here if we just look at the last 12 to 18 months here on this one. Back to the long-term horizon from 2018 to now, again to plot the next genre, let's squash the axis, and here we see science fiction and fantasy. During the pandemic, clear need for escapism, which lasted here almost 2 years, and ever since then also here a decline, but unlike mystery, thriller, suspense, we haven't really seen a rebound yet, and thus sci-fi and fantasy in October 2023 is back to the level that we had on average here before the pandemic during the years 2018-2019. The biggest change probably happened in teen young adult. Here we further have to squash the axis to even plot teen young adult, and it looks like this. One can observe that there has been a downward trend ever since the start of the pandemic, through the pandemic, and then thereafter it's a sideward movement up until September, October 2022, when Amazon made that first big change with books being limited to be shown in 3 bestseller lists. From a ranking perspective, that pushed out many high-selling titles or tactically placed titles, such as many romance titles, and that have been high-selling, pushed them out of teen and young adult, thus the overall green curve dropped. And then since June this year, you're confined to 3 categories in the uploading of your book, and you have to choose all 3 categories to be teen young adult if you choose one to be teen young adult. So with teen young adult, you have to go all in, and we see that some of the high-selling authors, for example in romance, have chosen not to put their books into teen young adult anymore. Of course, from a writer's perspective, you want to drill to the next level down. What are the particular subcategories or tropes that have been trending? And within romance, the one category to mention this month is clearly sports romance. Despite all those Amazon changes, the category sales rank improved by 49% over where it was 12 months ago. Of course, there's always some category pollution going on, but in this case, most of the titles do have something to do with sports. We see hockey romance in the main, ice hockey, American football romance, sometimes as a romantic comedy, sometimes teen young adult. All else pretty steamy stuff on one side, and some other things like sweet hockey romance on the more sweet and wholesome part of the spectrum. And one important factor about sport romance is that if you look at where it's plotted on the K-lytics strategy map, every dot is a category. The higher up it is, the better the average Amazon sales rank. You see it's ranking very high vertically. Now, the further you go from the left to the right, the more competitive it gets in terms of numbers of titles on the platform. With sports romance, we have an average sales rank across the top 20 titles measured over time of 169, sky high in the Kindle store, but the category size is less than 6,000 English-speaking titles, which for a romance category is very small. Then within mystery, thriller and suspense, which has finally been trending up again over recent months, the one genre that clearly stands out is domestic thrillers, and that is a subset of psychological thrillers, which we covered in a special report earlier this year, where we took a closer look at the type of books and the authors that keep outselling many other thrillers in the overall MTS genre. Extremely strong a bestseller list, and one that on the K-lytics strategy map has a equally high position as we just covered with sports romance. Sky high sales, average sales rank around 150 across the top 20 title, and again less than 6,000 titles in the category. Clearly a hot niche market where a lot of copies are being sold. Alright, I won't go into details in the sci-fi and fantasy category this time. Suffice to say that unfortunately the whole category has been trending down over the last 18 months. Instead, let's briefly discuss the recent AI impact, artificial intelligence, much debated of course in the publishing industry. And yes, it did have an impact in quite a number of genres. What you see here is a 10-year timeline of the monthly new edition of titles in a category, in this case self-help personal transformation. And on the very right-hand side, just in the last 4, 5, 6 months, you see this immense rise of new publications, jumping from an average that, say, was around 500 before the advent of AI and even less. We now see more than 5,000 titles being uploaded. Frankly, I cannot understand these authors who try the AI hype get-rich-quick schemes, because none of these books is ever gonna see the light of day unless heavy advertising is being put in there. And what so many people fail to understand is, within self-help, the Kindle ebook platform is not the best channel for selling these books, because look at this, in a vast category, the average sales rank of the top 20 titles is 9,000, equating to whatever, between 15 and 25 sales per day, and thus these books will never be a commercial success. In fiction, it depends on the genre. Let's look at short fiction, romance, 45-minute short reads, also one of these categories. Yeah, everybody can upload a short book. There was some impact. The good news is in, say, the bigger genres here, for example, romance contemporary, the biggest romance subcategory. Yes, there has been an increase in publishing activity, but there has been also a long-term upwards trends with various peaks, for example, during the pandemic, where everybody was getting his or her book written. And now, yes, there is a strong increase in publishing activity as well, but it's not like completely off the chart. We will, of course, continue to monitor the situation, especially now that Amazon introduced that cap for a number of titles you can upload per day to the platform, and the AI screening questions and the impact thereof. We shall see. I think by the beginning of the new year, we will see what this curve is doing. All right, for the main category numbers tables, there's no reason to take notes. You can download a free copy at k-lytics.com/free report. Or download it in the basic tab of the members area on the page you're already on. All right, enjoy the time as we move from autumn to winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Check us out at k-lytics.com. That's k-lytics.com. This is Alex Newton from K-lytics, ebook market intelligence for success.